Peace. So I want to jump right back into this real fast. So earlier I was live, and doing my live at this specific point, it got disrupted. So I wanted to make this point real fast right here. So pay attention close. In my academic studies in psychology with a concentration in consumer behavior psychology, one of the things that was provided to us as theories and knowledge base was cultural relations on an international level. So what it tells you is that you can have a company that's in one country, and then that company can have offices in a foreign country. For example, Apple headquarters in the United States, but they also can have offices in China, Japan, Bangladesh, etc. And with that being the case, it's something that they have to train their workers in who travel over to these foreign countries to operate within them as managers and so forth and so on. And that is the ability to know how to communicate in your verbal communication and in your body language in a cultural way that does not disrespect the other person. Because when you have different culture, you could have good intention on what you're communicating, what you're saying, the body language that you are expressing, and you could be disrespecting the other person unintentionally. Now, when I looked at that, because it also came back up in my master's study, in my study for business administration on the mastery level, that same theme, that same concept arrived again within the curriculum, meaning that you go and learn how to culturally communicate with other cultures. Then I start thinking, why they don't teach that in the United States for black and white relations? Because the black and white culture is totally different in some areas, and of course it's the same in some areas. But in the areas that is a difference, sometimes the differences could be polarizing. It could be so diverse that good intention get misunderstood and looked at as being something that is ill will. Now, in some cases it is ill will, but then in other cases, it's just that the intent does not determine the outcome a lot of times. Why? Because the road dictates the traffic. And what do I mean by that? You could have all the good intention that you want, but if you're traveling in this direction, but you meaning to go somewhere else, meaning that you want to go somewhere else, you intending to go south, but you're on a road that leads north. No matter how good your intentions are not good enough. You're going in the wrong direction. And that's how certain systems are. And another point I was making, you hear people talking about, well, black people, they want to dress like they rich. They want to try to act like they rich by purchasing designer materials, designer clothes, or fancy cars, foreign cars, to try to act like they rich, but rich white people, they don't buy those type of things. They don't dress like they're rich. They don't purchase high ticket items such as clothes or jewelry. They purchase homes and, assets on that level, right? They do that. However, they also purchase designer clothes. They also purchase jewelry. Case in point, first of all, who was Rolex designed for as their demographic, their customer base? Their customer base wasn't the low, moderate income people from the background that I come from. Because why? From the background that I come from, we technically wasn't able to afford those type of things based off of this environment that we were in. So who was buying it? Rich white people. Rich white people were buying Rolexes. Who was buying the Rolls Royce? Not the low, moderate income people were buying Rolls Royce. Rich white people were buying Rolls Royce, and they still buy Rolls Royce. So let's destroy all these so-called sophisticated myths. People have these things, they try to sound sophisticated, and sometimes it does sound sophisticated, but it really don't be making a lot of sense when you science it up. And that's what the Wazetics way is to give you observation, insight from a different perspective, not going along with what people say without analyzing it from a different perspective. Because this is another thing. In the curriculum of psychology and the curriculum of business administration, they teach you how to do research. They show you how you take quantitative data and qualitative data, right? And they show you how to do this type of research, show you how to analyze things, and they use these different systems to do that. And those methods give you a good way to observe phenomena, meaning that people, places, and things, you can observe these things and look deeper into them than what you see on the surface. And a lot of times in psychology, you have people who can shape and mold narratives through the way that they present them through media outlets, through literature, and through people who have influence on other people. So that's how a lot of things get passed on as being factual or being normalized when really it's some what? Bullshit. So now, I'm not gonna take up too much time. Let's get straight to this part right here. As a system advisor, what do? I show individuals how to translate one level of communication with another level of communication. And I'm gonna be real fast. I'm not gonna take up a whole lot of your time because I think this is on like 10 minutes. So you don't need 10 minutes of this. You already had like 20 something minutes in my live, but get direct to the point. Black people can still wear designer. They can still buy jewelry. They can still do all those things and still achieve riches and wealth. You just gotta know how to prioritize it. You gotta know how to place your priorities a certain way, and you gotta know how to market yourself in a certain way that the things that you do, the lifestyle that you live, contributes to adding value to your life. Whether a car depreciates or not when you buy it, that's not like a real thing. That is a major issue that determines how you achieve riches and wealth, and not only just riches and wealth, generational wealth. Because the same things that certain people do from different culture may not fit you and your culture. So you can't just listen to these sound bites, listen to certain people trying to say certain things, and they're giving you information that on the surface, it may be applicable. But beneath the surface, these things are not applicable to your life and journey, your ancestry, your background, your backstory, and how you came up as a Black American. And people got all these terms. They would say, "Oh, foundational Black American." Yo, I don't get up into all that neither. It's another sophisticated way of striving to say something, to try to present yourself as a scholar, present yourself as a best knower, present yourself as a thought leader, but you don't really have a strong foundation, a strong cultural foundation that is absent the individuals who provided you with the constraints that keep you stuck. Break it down real simple, meaning that you have people that were slave masters, then you have slave masters' children, and then you have people who inherited systems. Remember I said the road dictate the traffic. So regardless of a person being a part of a position with good intention going into that position, because the system is already structured a certain way, that good intentions are not good enough. The outcomes remain the same as the system was designed to bring about with that outcome. You go into the police force to want to try to bring a change within that police force, but the police force system is already structured a certain way. You can't do but so much within that system. In order for a different outcome to take place, the system has to be what? Redesigned. And that's what a system advisor does. It provides observation, insight, to look beneath the surface and to get a little bit more understanding on how systems operate and align to produce predictable outcomes. So even though I studied the curriculum from a Eurocentric standpoint, I already have the knowledge of myself. And I combine both of those things together to bring about the results that you see now, which is the Wazetics way. And this is why the Black aesthetics, that masterpiece, is about to be put out to describe everything that I just said and to be a landmark blueprint, a navigation system to take you to the next level in this world, in this system, under these circumstances, because it's a specific tailor-made solution that's not going to come from their academics alone. Peace.